reforms in FBI in terms of digitizing and digitalizing the tax authority. And we recognize that about $50 billion of our economy is undocumented. So we can't make meaningful progress unless we start documenting the economy. And one of the reasons why the economy is not documented is the prevalence and use of CAT bypasses. A couple of things that creates, digital creates two things. It increases speed and it improves transparency. So these are the two innate qualities of digital. And the second point over here was the transparency thing. Digital transactions always leave a digital fingerprint. So it's easy to start documenting the economy, and once you start documenting the economy, then you can start going and demanding taxes. And as a country, we need to increase our tax to GDP ratio, but we can't do that if 1/3 of the economy is completely undocumented. So that was the genesis of this cashless economy initiative that the Prime Minister has taken very seriously. And it is so close to his heart, you can assess the seriousness that he chairs the meeting himself. It's not led by IT or finance. He is there as a champion of cashless economy for the country. And there are different stakeholders that he co-opts and solicits advice from, including the Central Bank of Pakistan, the Ministry of IT and Telecom, NADRA, FPR Ministry of and private sector colleagues like John Zaid from Easy Pesa Bank and myself. So the details of what exactly there are, but certainly an important invisible SMS.
To now how does it look like to the users who are doing it for the first time?
So I think just like Amir mentioned, as part of the cashless economy, there are lofty goals, but there's plenty of opportunity also in Pakistan. So ecosystem between the larger players of enabling the tools, whether it be retailers, MSMEs, who are not currently utilizing those tools to start replacing cash, phone or other devices. Now, what matters is that we need to provide the level of trust that they can hold in cash. Critical for us as organizations collectively in the fintech space as well as the banking organizations, we hold a fiduciary responsibility to protect the hard-earned investments that customers hold. So for organizations like us, what that means is that we need to inject the factor of trust, which means security, privacy, ease of use also, while having the ease of use and reducing the friction points, to inject this process into a project life cycle and agile practices. And that is what we have done in our organization, and so are other organizations doing similar, to design from the get-go for security and make it frictionless for the customer, but utilize to detect anomalies in behavior and then improve the level of authentication required at different levels based on anomalies detected in real time. So we should not have a mass segment strategy for IS security. And that has been the case for long here in Pakistan, unfortunately. We need to do based on behavior anomalies based, and we are working closely with different groups like State Bank and ADRA, who ID mechanism on figuring out and facial recognition, which NADRA has also enabled recently, on enabling into the use cases based on anomalous behavior, right? So we should give the benefit of the doubt to the customer that they have been authenticated once. And if there's an anomaly where they have logged in, for example, a different location than their or the device and the SIM are not matching in different cases. So based on that, the level of authentication should increase, where we should give the level of trust to the customer that they are protected by the institution they are being serviced.
Right. So if now I now contextualize in terms of digital finance, a lot of this is coming from the Jazz Cash perspective, how this is influencing the evolution of Jazz Cash while we are looking at the financial side of digital in your perspective.
So, sorry, what's the question?
So digital finance, a lot of this is talked about the digital finance, but how is it influencing the Jazz Cash, the journey or the evolution of
So I
Jazz
think,
Cash?
you're probably seeing two people on this panel who are spearheading the financial inclusion. EasyPesa started this journey about 15, 16 years ago, and Jazz Cash perhaps 5 years later to the party. But the telcos in the country had an advantage in terms of reaching out. The penetration of telecommunication services shot beyond that of traditional banks. And there was a big opportunity in bringing bank to the phone. So bank to the home, wherever the customer is. And I think this is what the country was missing. Now the game has changed from where we started 15 years ago, where the use cases were just peer-to-peer domestic remittances and utility bill payments. Now we're talking about how do we become, or how do we create a safe platform for crypto exchange? How do we provide tokenized ownership of assets from real estate to other commodities? So fintech has moved a lot in the last 15 years, just like telecom or any other technology. And there is now a greater awareness that Pakistan has to move forward, and we have to enable our citizens with the same type of tools that are available in the rest of the world. And Jazz Cash and companies like EasyPesa and everybody else who's jumping in, I think there are 2 or 3 things that is common for each one of us. Our competition is not necessarily with each other, although this is what maybe the outside world may seem to notice. Our real competition is with cash, because cash is where things are undocumented, where the prevalence of disease is possible, where there is a cost of printing that thing, and where there is slowness. When the currency is digitized, it moves a whole lot faster. It moves in a more safe environment, and it propels the economy in multiple ways. When you go and travel outside of Pakistan, you would struggle to find many places now which accept cash. Yet in Pakistan, 95% of the retail payments are still done in cash. Many companies still proudly, or retailers still proudly display no credit cards accepted over here, which essentially means that I'm a tax evader. So this is basically something for all of you to recognize and challenge those companies and to stop frequenting them. And those companies exist here in Islamabad, in Karachi, everywhere. Where we need the help of the government is to mandate that every shopkeeper must at least have one digital payment option, be that of EasyPesa, Jazz Cash, Habib Bank, it doesn't really matter. But the customers must have an option of paying digitally, and the retailer and the shopkeeper has an obligation to provide that ecosystem. So this is, I think, one of the things, as I mentioned earlier, it started from one conversation with the Prime Minister. He's taken the notice on it. He has seen the importance of it. And Jazz Cash is proud to be part of this journey in shaking up the street.
But if I take this forward, Jazib, if I'll come to you first and then same question from you. Safeguarding of data becomes a most important part of that. How EasyPesa is taking care of that? What are the initiatives you've taken? How you're making it important for the users to understand as well, and for the organization itself? And then Amar, same question from you as well.
So for us, as we became the first digital bank in Pakistan, and there are others following us also, I think it's critical for this industry to flourish, fintech and the digital banks players, is to gain the trust of the customer. Otherwise, they're going to continue to use the bricks and mortar branches where there's a human element servicing them. In order to shift them from that human trust to a digital trust, it has to be a strategy and a KPI. One is customer experience.
Our commitment is to increase the awareness because as we transition from physical currency notes to digital, a lot of customers are perhaps naive. They give coming from anywhere saying I'm calling from a retailer. There are people who hack your that fraudsters get awareness and go after the people who are committing this thing along with federal investigation agencies, whether that is this incumbent. And the overall number of transactions which are fraudulent have really come down. So every single day I can give you an example. Jazz Cash transacts about 12 million transactions a day. And our fraudulent transactions are like 11 or 12 per 1 million. So the absolute number of transactions is minuscule compared to the volumes that we are undertaking. However, as a company's commitment, I am the one who actually looks at every single LinkedIn post or voice of customer on Facebook to make sure that the company is customer centric, and unless we build that trust, we will not be able to make this journey from physical cash to Jazz Cash.
And the last question, are you seeing the impact going beyond the, not the payment only? You're looking at the use cases from the microcredit and insurance and all that. So what's the impact beyond payment of a cashless economy?
I'll go first. So Jazz Cash is not just payments. It's lending, it's insurance, it's crypto, it's everything. It's the umbrella brand for all financial services products. Today, we issue more than 150,000 loans every single day to nano loans, which are given to entrepreneurs. A rickshaw driver who needs 10,000 rupees, doesn't have it, will take the money, get the rides, and 2 days later pays the loan back. Or to some female entrepreneurs who running a beauty parlor, and she needs an emergency loan of 15,000 rupees. So we are providing that in large numbers. We're also ensuring people. Pakistan is not just underserved financially, it is also very underinsured. Our premiums to GDP actually save with confidence. You have the ability to actually save with confidence. You have the ability to invest. You have the
we took the onus upon ourselves to bring them into the platform where they are starting to make payments. The next, we are getting them used to saving for times of need in investments, and investment in instruments like term deposits as an example, where I think most of you would be familiar, or your parents would be familiar, that typically you would need to walk into a bank branch, right, where you would deposit cash. There'll be a stamp paper, which you need to sign a stamp paper. Then you will be provided a certificate, which you'll hold it in a locker or at home. And one fine day, which you have to remember, you have to take those certificates back in order to get your investment back. Now, this is what was not available to the masses prior to the mobile and the fintech space. Now, with one click within our app, you can have the same ability which some of us used to have in SEC A or A+, to SEC CD. With one click, they can save and invest their hard-earned money for times of need. And similar to Ahmed, what he said, InsurTech is highly underutilized. We also came up with a marketplace with 50 plus insurance plans available to individuals. Next, what we are going to do is, in order to protect themselves via insurance, get them to learn about how to invest so they can safeguard their future and educate their children safely. And in times of need, when there's an emergency, they can go take the medical health care, plus of course, the lending, which we also similarly do to them. And then we are going to enable what's happening next in the world is around cross-border payments, right? That is where I think there's still a lot of friction in Pakistan. It's happening, but with friction, and therefore the tendency is to go to
Chaudhary, Vice President of Women Financial Inclusion at MMBL. Kurat, if you could please. And our panelists for this will be Ambreen Iftikhar, Member, Federal Board of Revenue. Anwar Awan, DG,